Welcome everybody to Nothing Less Than Extraordinary. I am super hyped. It's Friday for me in the evening, and over there in Australia, I don't know what time it is, but I know we have a huge time difference. Welcome.
Yeah, it's 10 a.m. here.
Yes. What time is it over there, you said?
It's 10 a.m. in the morning on Saturday. So we're the day ahead. Welcome from the future.
Yeah, that's it. I love it. It's fantastic. I am super thrilled to have Krystal because she's a beautiful spirit. And I think when you get to know Krystal, you get to uncover and unravel some of the beauty. So today's topic is embrace uncertainty in so many areas with the current situation we're living. It could be uncertainty in your relationship, in the workplace, your health. So we're going to look into that. But first, let me welcome Krystal. Welcome with us. I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited for our conversation and where it takes us.
Absolutely. And I love the color that you have, the purple with the background over there. It feels like this beautiful sky and just beautiful energy of high frequency, which is perfect. I love that.
Thank you.
So I'm going to actually just do a little bio of Krystal, and Krystal, feel free to expand on it. Krystal is the founder of Hille House Publishing, soul leadership mentor, and multiple international #1 best-selling author and speaker. Since 2021, Krystal has helped over 144 change maker from 26 different countries become international best-selling authors. So that is inspirational, so that their passion can actually ignite the global change around the world and enhance their authority and their reaches. She's also attract lead author such as Dr. John DeMartini, Dr. Lair Farewell, and Lori Latt. So and that's just the beginning of it. So there is so many authors that's waiting to work with her, and she's going to do magnificent. So thank you.
Thank you so much for this beautiful introduction. Yeah, it's really interesting how I got into publishing, because we share a passion to make a difference in the world, to really empower people so that they feel they can fulfill their true potential and they don't feel like they're second guessing anymore, they're pleasing, or they're hiding because of perfectionism or self-sabotage. So that's really been the through line that's brought me to this place now where I'm publishing. As a teenager, I've always known I'm here to help people. I'm here to help people, but I didn't at the time. I thought it was through psychology. Because that's the only thing I knew. You go and study psychology and you become a psychologist and you help people. But then I realized when I did my research, for me being such a creative soul, it needed to be it was too scientific. It was too many statistics. And writing has always been a great passion of mine. Like I remember, I still have the first story I ever wrote at the age of 9. It was all about the bees and the seasons, and it was very simple but really quite beautiful. Yeah. I then loved literature and exploring in literature why people do what they do and what makes humans tick, which led me then to study English literature and theatre studies, and I became a theatre director. In the UK. So I'm originally from Germany. After school, I moved to England. So when we talk more about this embracing uncertainty, yeah, there's I have some interesting stories about the many countries that I've lived in and how I got there and what was required of me or asked of me by, I call it the universe, but you can call it God, higher guidance, the divine, whatever it is. And really, I feel like I've always worked with that life force, with that universal energy, and that's been guiding me. But so just back to completing this circle, when I was teaching at a drama school, one of the people there was saying, one of the teachers, he was saying to me, Krystal, you have this ability to bring out the best, like see a person and really bring out who they are on stage. And to me at the time that was like, oh yeah, okay, that's nice. I didn't think more. But then now looking back at it, I'm realizing, well, that's actually the beginning of my innate gift, that I see people and I can help them to amplify who they are. And so I've done that, empowering actors to give the best performance on stage. I then moved to Australia. Didn't want to go back in the theater, but found life coaching in 2008. And so now I was helping my clients, in particular women, to really fall in love with themselves and bring out and live their best life, be empowered in that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when COVID hit, like I added Tantra into the mix as well. So we have there a little overlap with the work that we're doing. You know, really working with the divine feminine, divine masculine energy within, and really activating that. Because what I've realized on my journey is that I was really in my wounded feminine and my wounded masculine. I was very disempowered, which is why this word empowerment is really very, very dear to my heart, because that's been my journey. To activating then the divine feminine and masculine, so that there's a greater harmony, greater unity within. And so that's what I was teaching. Also in the tantric temple nights I was running in Melbourne, Brisbane, and Sydney, really helping this authentic relating and embracing who we are. Then COVID shut all of that down. And I was part to pivot, and I thought, well, instead of speaking about authentic relating, I heard myself speaking about, I was passionate to share the conscious leaders, the way showers, those with positive messages, high visions, have to stand up and speak up. We've got to get us, myself included, confident enough to create a different narrative in the fear mongering that's going on in the media. Yeah. That's what I was really passionate about. And I thought I was going to do it through coaching. But then again, it was, I was going through a divorce and wasn't really able to hold space for others, and really wanted to surround myself by positive people. And then an opportunity to train as a publisher came in. And so I just, did that. And again, there's more we could dive into regarding uncertainty, and because I had to make it work. But yeah, I'm really loving bringing, everything's kind of come full circle now, because I'm bringing all of my intuitive abilities, all of my life coaching experience, and the ability to see people into this. So especially with my VIP clients, I hold them, I see them, I understand their intention of what message they want to bring out there. So to empower them to become more visible, to empower them to embody their message on a global stage, not just with a few people, but really proclaim it. Yes, this is who I am, and this is what I stand for. So that's now what really, really lights me up, and how I empower people.
It's very, very exciting, because like you said yourself, to be able to empower leaders out there, like we need to be able to stand up for something greater and bigger, and to really be out there and outspoken about it, doing something that's really going to change the world. And oftentimes we are kind of shy, and we kind of keep it to ourselves and just the small little group of people. But your message is powerful. We need to do more than just in that small little circle of ours. So I'm glad to hear that. And here you are bringing and inspiring people to do more beyond what they could possibly dream of. And what a gift that is. And to be able to see through people, it's a special talent. I can tell you, it's not everybody that has that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. And so tell me, like, when you're actually working through this process with regards to uncertainty, I know there's so much, because we can see that from all the different progression where you had to travel, where you had to live and adapt to the situation. What's the one uncertainty that really had an impact on your life, and how you actually switched it around so that it would serve you instead?
I won't go into the most recent one, but over the last 2 years there's been a lot of uncertainty and a lot of questions, and the amount of times that I had to surrender to the universe was unbelievable. But I'll tell you a specific story, and I think a lot of people can relate to this. It's never, and it feeds into what your audience loves about relationships, because that thing about it's never the right time to break up. Just like it's never the right time to have a child or to write a book, it's like it's always inconvenient. Like it's always never the right time to move, but you just know you have to. And so in my first marriage in London, I was in my early 30s. My ex-husband was helping me build, we were renovating my house, and the renovations weren't ready. And my guidance was saying, the relationship is over, you've got to leave. I'm like, yeah, later. I'll later. We've got to finish this house first.
Gotta get my priorities straight here.
And you know, I was going to readers and saying, is this really the right thing to do? So I was really diving in. I was self-inquiring, and I was, you know, trying to make it work. But they said, yeah, they were confirming it, and I knew, but the house wasn't finished, so I wasn't gonna. It was really crazy. And so there came one specific moment when we were lying in bed, and my body was going into this really, like, it just gave me a sign, and I needed to go into the bathroom and just leave. And I said, okay, I'm listening. Because, you know, my body gave me like a really strong signal, like, enough. Listen to yourself, listen to us. And so then I embraced the uncertainty, and I said, look, this isn't working. The house wasn't finished. We kind of, you know, we agreed to finish it. It was, you know, it was very, you know, it was a challenging time, but both of us, you know, were amazing, you know, bigger people to work through it. So it was actually quite amicable how we resolved the whole situation. And yeah, he's still like somewhere on my face, you know, he's still in the ether somewhere. Yes. In my reality. But that was, in that moment, I actually promised myself that I would never again not listen to my inner guidance, because I didn't like the extremity to which it came. I didn't like it in myself. I didn't like myself for it. I didn't like how it felt. So the next time I had to break up with a relationship, a few years later, or 5 years later or so, I was in Australia. I was in a de facto relationship, and my permanent residency to Australia depended on that relationship. I had 6 months to go, and I heard the voice again, you need to leave. It's time to break it up. And so I was like, I can't repeat. I promised the universe I can't repeat the same thing. Like, I just can't. I just have to trust that whatever happens is going to be okay. And I need to listen to my inner guidance, or else God knows what's going to happen this time. Right. Because I already made that promise, right? So I actually did. I embraced that uncertainty, and I said, look, it's not working. We're separating. Sure enough, he withdrew the consent. You know, he wasn't going to go through with it anymore. We told the authorities that it was, and I was fully prepared. And it's like, I know Australia is my soul home. I know I need to be here. So what? You know, I just surrendered it. I just surrendered it to the universe. I trusted that if I was meant to be there would be a way. And sure enough, there was. I won't go into the details, but, you know, I'm still here. Like, this was in 2009. So, and I think if we're teasing out the lessons in both of these stories, is that we all get inner guidance. You know, some of us get it stronger, some of us less strong. But to listen out for firstly, what our body tells us. Are we getting sick? Are we low energy? Do we feel like a contraction in our body? Are we getting, or externally, you know, there's a lot of synchronicities that through which the universe talks to us, or the universe talks to us, or God, or, you know, the divine, through other people. You know, somebody might happen to be listening to us in this moment, and hearing a sentence that I say that will change a decision that they're making.
Absolutely. It's so good what you're describing, because our inner guidance knows always what's best for us. And it's funny that you said that with regards to, we didn't finish a house yet. And I remember when I had to leave my relationship thinking, I can't leave yet because my daughter's birthday is on June 12th. And we always have like the summer launch, everybody coming to our house. I'm like, I can't do that. It just breaks the whole routine of the summer. What are people going to think? Like, I got to carry on with this birthday thing. But it's so funny how our mind would focus on these things, and you go, whoa, 1 minute. And learning to listen to your inner guidance. I had that too, where it just basically said to me, you're at a crossroad, and you got to figure out whether to stay in the relationship or whether to leave. And one middle of the night, and I think I said this in some of my podcast interview, but not to repeat myself, it just kind of like popped up. There was a vacation at the best rate on a round trip to go to Thailand that would allow me to go back to Cambodia for very cheap. And I didn't have the means, didn't have the money, but something was so strong. And I could almost feel like somebody taking my hand to click on buy the ticket when I didn't have the funds. And it was like putting on a credit card. which I don't like that. So for me, this feels so foreign. But yet I decided to embrace the uncertainty, to just trust it. And it basically said, you know what? Just trust the process. Allows. It sounds like, for people who don't understand what we're talking about, it may seem so scary and frightening. But I think in anything in life, when it comes to uncertainty, when you kind of just let go and embrace it, and you're kind of going with the flow, there's this level of lightness. And when you have this belief that you'll figure it out and it's going to work out into your favor, and all of a sudden everything just does magically kind of work itself out. The moment when I let go of, I'm like, okay, I trust you. I bought the ticket, I had a promotion, and I knew that, one, I bought a ticket, not know that it was going to be approved to go on vacation. It mean that I would get demoted. It mean that I would have a huge fight with my then husband. And it could have destroyed, but I said, you know what? The intuition said, this is what you need to do. Focus. When you go on this trip, do not do the guilt of wondering what he's thinking, how that's impact him, and just go and have fun, and then you'll find your answer. And that's exactly what I did. Of course, I was hoping the answer would be, I can save my marriage, but it was the complete opposite. So when I came back, I had to make the tough decision whether to stay or not. But yes, exactly, coming back to your point, embrace uncertainty. It is scary. It is very
It
scary.
is scary.
It's very scary. But as you do more and more of it, when your heart speaks so loud, when you get that hunch feeling, I tell you, it's worth it. Because when I got this house, I had this hunch feeling before COVID hit 3 years ago. I bought this house just in time before it exploded over 100K. And I bought it just in time. I had 2 weeks divorce and getting out of the house, and something was telling me, something huge around the world is happening. I can't tell you what it is. I just know that you need to get out of your then husband's house. And although in the contract of the divorce said you had 3 months to live and figure yourself out and find a place, in my heart, I knew I had 2 weeks. So within that 2 weeks, I listened to my intuition. I did everything I had to, and I got this house just in time. And then COVID came. Everything exploded. I was like, I could never been able to afford the house that I have now.
Amazing. Yeah. It's so true, right? And I think that's the thing about the scariness. It's like embracing uncertainty is like a muscle that we build. The more we trust, the more we get rewarded. You know, there's a saying that the universe rewards the courageous. It's like we have to jump first out of the airplane with our parachute, and there is that moment of free fall where we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if it's going to open or not, but it always does. The universe always catches us because it rewards courage, and this belief the universe has our back is a really, really, is one that I've held on to. You know, everything happens for me, not to me. And if I hold on to that belief, I can make decisions that are in alignment, that feel maybe potentially silly or stupid or irrational, but I no longer compromise myself. I no longer sacrifice my values or what I know to be right, even if it has initially some bigger pushback, some bigger, you know, I will be, you know, in my previous marriage, I just wouldn't speak up for fear of not being safe.
Right.
But this pattern is now broken, and we're always safe, but we're learning and growing through the challenges so much. And I think, you know, you have so many stories. I could tell you another story where I have a credit card story as well, but I won't go into it now, where I spent money and then it came back through a job, and it was like I was umming and ahhing. I was like, no, but I shouldn't spend this money because it's for my tax. And then I did anyway because it was guided. And then I got a job, a translating job, with the exact amount that was giving me the exact amount that I had to spend in order to come to Australia. So, you know, when for the you listening, for the audience, it's like, if you don't have these reference points in your own life, go and borrow ours. You know, borrow somebody else's belief in how the universal laws work until you can get it until you get your own evidence. And also really an invitation to reflect on, where have you embraced uncertainty, and how has that worked out for you? Because our mind always gives us the worst case scenario. It keeps us stuck in where we are in our past kind of conditioning. And in order to achieve our full potential and who we are and our desires, we've got to trust, because we've got to break through that. And that's not always, it's not always love and light. It can be really, like, breaking through the walls of our self-imposed prisons can be really tough. And there'll be tears, and there'll be anxiousness, and there'll be anger, but it all has to come out. It's like once it comes out, once it's out, then we can move into the new.
Yeah, you said so many fabulous things in there. Is because you have to be able to, in order to shine that light, you need to be able to chip away through. It needs a release. And so all these things that you're feeling, and the pain and the hardship, the struggle in it, it needs to be let go in order to make new, to allow you to shine. And something that you said in there, though, it's really interesting, is that so many women, and I know your situation of not being able to express themselves with regards to like fear of safety. And as I'm talking to the female, there are probably listening, there's so many of the female out there, women's out there, that may be feeling the same thing. I felt that too. So I want you to know that you can choose a different option, because staying in that relationship, I felt like over the long run, I will die out. Like, it was just a matter of time. It wasn't that the case at that moment, but I could feel internally. And I kept saying to my ex, like, I'm dying out. Like, I feel my candle is just, the light is dimming more and more, and I can't describe it. I couldn't put my finger on it. All I kept saying to him is like, I feel like I'm not my person. And then when I went to Cambodia, I realized I completely disconnected, because I wanted so badly, when you get into a relationship, in a codependent relationship, you wanted to, well, in my case, I suffer from the need to please. I wanted to be the perfect wife. I watch all of these Asian movies where the woman was just the ideal perfect woman, and I wanted to be that for my husband. But in exchange, I was so selling my soul to the process. And what you brought out in terms of alignment, even though when things are tough, if you don't compromise your own value and you stick with it, I can tell you, you'll live a much more fulfilled life, because you were honoring yourself by doing that. And it's such a hard thing to do, because there's so many factors coming to sway you in a different direction, and to say, you know what, I am sticking with this. And it's so hard to do, but like you said, life rewards the brave. So stay brave and take your spot and claim that space, because it's yours and you know what's right for you. Nobody else does except for you, you know. So thank you for sharing all of that.
There's one other point here that I've been reflecting on when I was reflecting on the theme of uncertainty, which is also the title of the next book that I'm inviting contributors into. Is called Beyond Certainty, Finding Courage to Embrace the Unknown. So I've been really, and this is why we're talking about this, because I've been really reflecting on this in my own life, and it's been, I can trace it everywhere in my life, and now collectively it's coming up as well. And there's a lot of us way showers who have gone through this ahead of what I call the bell curve of consciousness of the bell curve of the humanity's consciousness. And I feel like now a lot of people are being faced with, oh, I'm not in alignment with who I truly am. This can't be all there is to life. And they're now looking to explore this. And so that's why I'm bringing this book together. For people to come in, either if they want to deepen into their own finding it easier to embrace uncertainty, or if they have empowering stories to share where they've embraced uncertainty and can now share them like we're doing here, to provide hope and inspiration so that others can do the same. And so one thing I noticed is that the mind, we do more to avoid pain than we do to seek pleasure. That's a principle. So our mind always wants to keep us safe. But for me, there came a point when avoiding pain was
Mm-hmm.
actually leaving the prison.
Mm-hmm.
The pain of staying had become stronger than the uncertainty and the unknown. I could see beyond that, that fulfillment, that self-actualization that was beyond the current situation. That was my, and if I'd stayed that, and sometimes I think the encouragement is don't wait until it gets, the universe gives you the brick over the head. Listen to the whispers and trust, embrace the unknown and trust that you're going to be carried.
Mm-hmm. And don't get caught into the how. I
Yes.
remember when I was getting divorced, asking about the how. Like, I can't fix a car. I don't know anything about plumbing. Who's gonna shovel my driveway? What about all those snowstorms? We just got like a snowstorm at 25 centimeters. It's like, what about all of those things? I don't know. I don't have a little clue about how to do any of those things. And then I started to become anxious. But then when I said, this is the right thing, it felt like the right thing to me. And even though I don't know how, I'll figure it out. And it's a good thing. So I chose to intentionally focus on the positive of a new beginning. And this allows me to feel free. And what I love the most, I think all of us work so hard for in terms of money and all of that and prosperity, or to have quality time with our family. It's the freedom that we're seeking, the freedom of our own self-expression, the freedom to choose what we want to do, who we want to hang out with. And that feeling, it is so liberating. So when I actually didn't focus on the how and just focus on the now, right now, what does it feel right to me? And I remember Oprah saying, don't think about so many steps into the future. Just look one step at a time and figure out what is the right step right now. And that stayed with me. And I said, what is the right step right now in this divorce? The right step is to leave this unhealthy relationship. The next step, I'll figure it out, but I'm not there yet. So let's just enjoy this moment, because it took all of the strength that I have to just ask for a divorce. So let's not overwhelm yourself here.
Yeah, exactly. And we can only influence the now, right? Like right here, right now, we can deal with what is. We can, feel the feelings, move through the feelings, be with the feelings, rather than pushing them away to think about the future, because that just creates anxiety, even more anxiety, because we don't know. And I think the beautiful image that I have, as you were saying, the Oprah quote is, I think it's Einstein that said, the ladder, you can only, one step at a time, moving up the ladder, and the higher you get, the more you can see, and the next step will reveal itself. But all you need to do is take the first step, right?
That's right. It's so beautiful. It's so well said. It's true, because as you get higher, that's when it all gets revealed to you. It makes sense. The puzzle comes together. But when you're at the bottom, it's so hard. But get moving. Just keep at it and trust that, I had to repeat for one whole year that I was worthy and deserving of love, to tell myself this was the right choice for me, because it felt so foreign. And always listen to your body and the sensation. I think the last day when I left, when I moved and I drove away from that house, and I thought I was going to cry, because that's where I built everything, my children's memory. But the moment I drove, I just felt lightness. I never smiled this big in my whole entire life. I was like, oh, look at that. I thought I'd be crying, and here I am with a huge smile, and I'm feeling free. So trust your gut feeling. Just focus on what is the right step right now and embrace that, like you said. I also wanted to mention to you as well, because a lot of people come and work with you, and you're able to help them with regards to publishing and expressing their books. So how does that process kind of look like if somebody was interested to working with you, Krystal?
Yeah, so there's two ways of doing it. You can either come with your solo book, or you can come with a multi-author, come and write one chapter of 3,000 words in a multi-author book. And usually people, like, I work in the spiritual and personal development industry. So I get a lot of people who are coming out of the spiritual closet. You know, they've been in corporate and they know they've got that whisper, that inner knowing, I've got to step into my gifts and I have to do that. So those are the people, they know they have books to write, they come in, and we work very much with intentions. What is, I ask, you know, if you were to come in, I would ask you, what is your intention for yourself for reading this book, for writing and contributing? And you might say with the next book that we're doing, well, look, I want to really embody, I want to be more comfortable with uncertainty. And I know that if I write about it, it will bring out things within me to be resolved, and I will really drop into that embodiment, because writing in my containers is like a personal transformation journey for professional expansion.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that we've created then, you know, so the intention for yourself, but also the intention for your business. What do you want to achieve with this? You know, it's, of course, you want to have more visibility. You want to establish yourself as a global authority in your marketplace, in your niche, and you want people to know your story. So connecting through your story, but then also sharing your expertise. So I make sure that when they write their first draft, that is actually there, you know, that they're, I can see that they've really represented themselves well, or if not, then I'll make some suggestions to go deeper or explore something more so that the reader can fully connect with them. So I really have my clients back in that respect, to work with them on crafting their chapter. Then it goes into grammatical editing, formatting, and we do a bestseller campaign on Amazon. And so far, all 5 books that I have created and produced have all reached #1 international bestseller in at least 3 countries, up 3 to 5 countries. So I've got a 100% track record there. The formula works. We've got lots of support also for the launch, and trainings around how contributors can leverage the launch for their business. So it's not just, here's your chapter guide, go write a chapter and make sure you promote it. No, it's like a beautiful held sacred container for everyone, with the intention that everybody will just actualize themselves even more. Yeah,
it's so beautifully described the way you said it, because I am in the process of writing my book. I finished writing my book. I'm in the editing. Oh my God, the editing phase is, I thought I was going to be able to launch this thing in February. It was supposed to launch in December. We're now in February, and that February is coming soon, and I can't launch that. So the next date, which is no longer negotiable, which I said to my coach, it's not negotiable. It is going to be launched on April the 28th, on my sister's birthday. That is the reason why I do what I do. That is the motivation behind my business, with the logo of the hummingbird. That's her as the carrier of happiness and joy to others and inspire them. It is, I didn't even think that writing a book, you described it so well, it's more than just writing a book. It's this beautiful craft, this expression, this healing process. And here I am writing this book thinking I was doing the reader a favor, when in fact, I'm actually healing myself.
Yes, and that's why sometimes it takes longer than we think it does. But it's so beautiful, because it's like another layer gets released. You know, all the people I work with have done lots of self-development, but something else shifts. And then I find the witness is really important as well. Like when we're sharing our story and we're witnessed in that through the reader, that in itself creates another release, because suddenly, if there were any pockets of shame still hiding within our being, and we're sharing that story, it gets released, and it kind of just dissipates, because now we're being witnessed in it, that we don't have to hold it anymore. We're actually releasing our story into the universe, and we don't have to carry it anymore. So that's another beautiful thing. And by sharing it, we're enriching the experience of the reader, their lives, and help them to understand their own lives through the context or through the lens of our experience.
And I want to shout out to you, because I see my coach doing, it's a lot of work. How they do it, it's a talent itself, but they're constantly pushing. I remember my coach constantly pushing me, like, okay, well, you got to reflect on this. How about this? Like showing up even more. Like I thought I was writing it, I was as raw and as real as much as possible. And he would push my butts and, well, no, I want you to do more. I want you to think outside of the box. I'm like, oh my God, how much more do I have to give? But because I trust the process, and I said, look, I'm here to learn. I'll do it. And I want to give my readers so much of me. So I'm willing to go and be grilled in the process. And you know what? It really did. It took me to another level. So kudos for you. It's really not an easy job to be able to bring that and elevate that and take out that beauty and the rawness and the flaw of it all and trying to put it into a beautiful package so that everybody can benefit from it. So really great job on that.
Yeah, and I mean, the other thing is though, it doesn't have to be hard. Yes, there is a massive transformative process, but the end result, when you have that finished product, there's something to be so proud of. And what it does also, in the process of writing, it kind of gives us a more clarity in how we express ourselves, and therefore more magnetism, that we attract more people, because that clarity, having to write it down in a way that is really communicates it well, helps us to show up in a more confident, more empowered, and more magnetic way.
Oh yeah, so well said. Absolutely. It's almost like you're shedding layer through your own book.
Yes, yes.
So I agree with you 100%. I also want to be able to highlight you, Krystal, in terms of any project you might, any kind of webinar or conference or book that you might have going on. I pre-records all of my interviews, so I have like quite a bit of a guest, so at least 7 or 8 guests. But until that time, we'll share everything with regards to your info. But in that time span, is there anything that people might be able to benefit, learn more? If you have anything that you can share with them, I would love for you to actually put it on this podcast here so that everybody can benefit.
Absolutely. So I've always got books coming up that we're enrolling in, whether it's the Beyond Certainty or whether it's the next one, which is Beyond Conditioning. There's always something there. But if you want to get something right away and you want to kind of say, well, I'm not really a writer, but I want to learn, I really want to, and you don't have to be a writer to be an author. I think that's a really important thing to say as well, because the support is there. As long as you have a story and a passion, anybody can write a book.
If I could write a book,
with the right support,
I'd definitely be able to write a book. And I know nothing about writing a book, and I don't even consider myself an author. So I just knew I had to listen to my intuition, like we said before, listening to our inner wisdom. And all it said to me was, I was like, why are you wanting me to write a book? I was like, I'm no author. I don't know anything. And who am I to tell my story? You know, who's going to really read my stuff? You know, this is the imposter syndrome that I go through. But learning to trust the universe, and something about it said, your voice needs to be heard. And so I said, okay, I'll listen. I don't know how to go about in doing it, but now that I'm in the process, I couldn't go backward at all. I am grateful for the opportunity. So your ability to be able to give that gift to other people who might want to do that or even explore it, you don't need to be a writer. Just embrace the process. You have a story to tell. Your heart wants to speak about it. Have fun, enjoy it.
And I have lots of tools in the process that I can share, because writing is like a muscle, right? Like you go to the gym, you build your muscle. Writing is just the same way. Everybody can learn it, even if your high school teacher said you were a crap writer. So I have a free ebook. It's called 3 Keys to Connecting with Connecting Deeper with Your Reader. And so it shares 3 principles in which you can write or use writing to really create that beautiful connection, that heart-to-heart connection with your reader. So that's a free ebook that I'll make available, and you can put it in the show notes for anybody to take.
Absolutely. And how can they actually connect with you, Krystal? Like, what's the best way to reach out to you?
So I'm always on Facebook or LinkedIn, just under Krystal Hille. That's a good way to reach out. But if they want to have more information on the writing and just get a little bit deeper into what my offerings are at that time, the website is krystalhille.org, just my name.org.
Very simple to remember. I think it's Krystal Hille with an E at the end.
That's right. Yes. Krystal Hille with an E and Krystal with a K.
Exactly. Perfect.
Yeah.
Krystal and I were coming close to the hour. I can speak to you for so much because it's really on a deeper level. I had interview with other people, but when I speak to you, it's a different kind of energy vibe. You're speaking my language without even know that you're speaking my language. So I knew that this was going to be a fabulous podcast interview. but to actually live it for real, that's like, it almost feels surreal. So thank you for that experience. And I always want to leave my guests with the last word of like a saying or a quote that has served you in your life that you would like to share with the public so that it can inspire them in their own life as well.
Yes. So I'm really all about at the moment to really seizing the day, you know, and there's a beautiful quote by Mary Angelou, and she says, "There's no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you." And I mean, that's a story that I feel like, yes, you know, when we suppress everything, this is all we've talked about, because we don't feel we can share it, it actually impacts us. So but there's another one I also love from the Dead Poets Society. Robin Williams is saying, if you listen real close, you can hear them whisper their legacy. Go on, lean in, carpe diem, seize the day, make your lives extraordinary. So I feel like that's really, those two really sum up what we've just been talking about, and just that encouragement that we are always supported. Our ancestors, they're looking for us to do the things that they may not have done. So to really seizing the day, there is only the now moment. So make it, you know, make it count.
Oh, I love that. And I love the Dead Poets Society with Robin Williams and Ethan Hawke in there too. Such a great thing. But the two quote is amazing. And you said something that really left me with a gift with regards to our ancestor not being able to do it. I mean, I am from the first generation that's gone to university, and I don't think anybody, my grandfather being a monk and all of that, and everybody doing their best within the community to helping out and inspire people, but to be able to do what they could have wished they could have done. And here I am not knowing the tool, and yet blindfoldly taking a leap and just pursuing that dream. So it's been such an amazing podcast. Krystal, I love your energy. I love what you do. And I wish you so much success. And I know you have the success, but I'm wishing you so much more. So please, guys, if you're hearing this podcast and you want to be able to explore and just to get that story out and you want to learn more, definitely connect with Krystal. It's going to be worthwhile. So thank you, audience, for tuning in with us today. We're wishing you a great, great day. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.